So picture this. It's Christmas Eve 2025. While most of us are probably wrapping last-minute gifts, India's space agency, ISRO, was launching one of its own, a gift to the entire nation. They launched their most powerful rocket ever, nicknamed Bahubali. And let me tell you, it was a massive success. This wasn't just another launch. It's a huge leap forward for India in space. So let's get into what happened, and more importantly, why it's such a big deal. ISRO's chairman, V. Narayanan, just summed it up perfectly. He called it a New Year and Christmas gift to Bharat. And that's exactly what it felt like. This was a real moment of national pride, delivered right on time for the holidays.
So here's the headline. India's heavy-lift rocket, the LVM-3, just successfully launched the heaviest payload ever from Indian soil. Now, that one single event sends these huge shockwaves through India's entire space program, and we're going to break down exactly what those are.
All right, let's geek out on the numbers for a second, because the precision here is just incredible. The rocket, the LVM3-M6, was hauling a 6,100-kilogram Bluebird satellite. It was aiming for a 520-kilometer orbit, and it hit 518.5 kilometers. I mean, that is just razor-thin accuracy. It's exactly why they called it a true textbook launch. Okay, so the rocket's a beast, but what was the point of the mission? What did it actually do? Let's take a look at the satellite it was carrying, because that's what's going to affect all of us back here on Earth. So the Bluebird satellite is part of what's called a LEO constellation. LEO just means low Earth orbit, and the idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of having one giant, expensive satellite way out in space, you create this web of smaller ones, all working together, circling much closer to Earth. And when they all work in sync, they can cover the entire planet with the signal. And the impact of that in the real world, it's huge. We're talking about a system that can provide 4G and 5G service directly to a normal smartphone. Just think about it. What if we could completely get rid of network dead zones? Whether you're in a super remote area, out on a boat, or even in a disaster zone where all the cell towers are down. This is a huge step toward making sure everyone is connected everywhere. Now, getting a satellite into orbit is always a big win. But the success of the rocket itself, the Bahubali, well, that's where the story gets even bigger. This one perfect launch has some major ripple effects for India's entire future in space. 6,100 kilograms. That number right there, it's a statement. It proves that the LVM-3 rocket has some serious heavy lift muscle, and that's your ticket to playing in the big leagues of the global launch market. It's basically telling the world, hey, ISRO can handle your biggest, most demanding satellites. And listen, it's not just about raw power. It's about reliability. This was the LVM-3's 9th successful launch in a row. That gives it a perfect 100% success rate. And if you're a company that's spending millions on a satellite or a nation launching a priceless science probe, a flawless track record like that, that is everything. And let's be clear, ISRO is not new to this game. Not at all. This launch is just the latest in a long line of successes. The agency has now launched 434 foreign satellites for 34 different countries. That is a deep, deep well of experience and international trust they've built up over the years. So let's put the pieces together. You've got proven power, you've got a perfect reliability record, and you've got this reputation for being cost-effective. What do you get? You get a very, very serious competitor on the world stage. This launch really solidifies the role of Israel's commercial arm, New Space India Limited, as a go-to choice for pretty much anyone looking to get to orbit. But here's the thing. As important as launching commercial satellites is, that's not even this rocket's ultimate destiny. No, there's a much bigger, much more ambitious goal on the horizon. So what's the end game here? All this power, all this reliability, what is it all really building towards? What is this rocket's biggest, most important mission? This is it. The LVM-3 is the rocket for India's Gaganyaan program. It's been human-rated, which is a fancy way of saying it's been certified as safe enough to carry people. This is the exact rocket designed to carry Indian astronauts, the Vyomanauts, into orbit, and most importantly, to bring them safely back home. And like the ISRO chairman said, every single time this rocket flies perfectly, it's more than just a win for business. It's a direct shot of confidence for the Gaganyaan program. Because when you're putting human lives on the top of that rocket, there is zero, and I mean zero, margin for error. Okay, so all this success is creating more demand, which is great, but it also brings us to a really practical, down-to-earth problem. How do you launch even more rockets, even more efficiently? So check this out. Here's a fascinating little geography problem that ISRO has to deal with. Their main launch site is at a place called Sriharikota. Now, if they want to launch a satellite into a polar orbit, so going south over the poles, they have to perform what's called a dogleg maneuver. They can't fly straight south because Sri Lanka's in the way, so they have to fly this curved path around it. And that little detour, it wastes a ton of fuel. So the problem is that awkward, fuel-wasting flight path. But the solution is actually really elegant. You build a second spaceport, this one much farther south, in a place called Kalasakarapatnam. From there, rockets have a clear shot. They can fly straight south, right over the Indian Ocean. No detour, no wasted fuel, just a direct path to orbit.
And the payoff is pretty obvious, right? This new launch pad, which is mostly for smaller rockets, is going to make those missions way cheaper and more efficient. It's just a really smart move that gives India an even stronger competitive edge, especially in that booming small satellite market. So, when you put it all together, you've got a powerful, reliable, heavy-lift rocket, a huge line of international customers, a clear path to putting your own astronauts in space, and you're building smarter infrastructure to launch even more. It really all leads to one massive question, doesn't it? Are we watching the moment India becomes a new leader in the commercial space race? Now that's something to think about.